Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I'm Gerry. With me today, I've got Terry and also Andy, aka El Pivote. You've seen him on the Twitters and on his blog probably. So welcome, gentlemen. Welcome back. Anyway, let's talk Joe Williams. He's a young player that I think it's easy to forget about this fellow because he's been on loan a lot in recent years. And he usually performs well on loan. And he's one of those where at the beginning of the summer, there's always talk, is this the year for Joe Williams to join the first team? Is this the year? Well, there's this other player who might just edge him out. And so he ends up going somewhere. Last season, it was at Bolton, which was a really, that's an intense situation over there right now. But he played well. Had a good season. Andy, you want to talk a little bit about Joe? Because I think the question is that we'll get to eventually. What should be the plan with Joe Williams? And if he's in the first team setup, how do we use him and all that kind of stuff? So we'll get to those. But
I think, what you think people need to remember about Joe is obviously he went to Barnsley not the last season, the season before he did well there. Then Bolton last season, obviously Bolton had tremendous amounts of problems with paying wages and what have you not. But he performed well again. I'd say he's a very physical midfielder. He wins the ball back and progresses the ball forward. He's someone who can be useful, really, and I think he has got a talent. And I think Marcus Silva's on record saying he does like Joe. I think last season he was going to give him a run in pre-season, but Joe got injured early in pre-season and it never really worked out for him. I think what they're going to do this summer is give him the whole of pre-season, and then at the end of pre-season, if he's going to be the fourth, fifth, maybe fifth centre midfield, I think he may stay, or again, they may send him out on loan somewhere again to give him some minutes, maybe higher up the Championship in a more favourable situation, but maybe push him for promotion. But he's a very good player, to be honest with you. He performed well in the Championship last season. I looked at some of the data before. He really shows up well in terms of winning the ball back, getting the ball forward, getting the ball into the box in terms of passing. So he's someone who can be very useful. Say if Gay was injured and the Schneiderlin was injured, I'm not too sure if both will stay. But if that type of player, he's a good addition. He's more physically ready than Tom Davies. He's not the quickest, I'd say, but he's a good player. And I think he's the type of midfielder Marcus Silva could definitely use.
So, in the system that Silva is running right now, I know Davies came out, was it today or the day before, recently, where he said, I see myself as someone who plays a little bit farther forward so that he would be more of a backup to Sigurdsson, kind of, playing in that kind of role in a way. It was just funny because we've had the discussions many times. Is he more of a replacement for Andre Gomez type, and we know he's not a direct replacement for Idrissa Gueye. That doesn't make sense in terms of his skill set or whatever. But let's compare Joe Williams to some role that's already present in our team right now in terms of those central mids.
I suppose you could say he's a lot like Garner Gueye, in the sense that he wins the ball. Not obviously he's a higher rate because no one wins it back as much as Garner does, but he's someone who wins the ball back, and he's a good passer of the ball as well. I think I would have said about 8 months ago Garner's not great on the ball, but whatever happened after the PSG rumours, I think he seems to come. He's a completely different player. Saw him the other night for Senegal, just driving forward. He's been unbelievable since then. So yeah, I'd say he'd more likely replace Gueye in that system. With you saying Tom Davies is a 10, we play. There's obviously different types of number 10s. Gylfi Sigurdsson's more of a second striker, really, someone who gets in the box. Tom's not physically up to that, if I'm honest. No. He can't turn a man. It is up to him to, I think, physically develop, actually. That's one thing I've mentioned before about him. But, yeah, I think Joe's probably would play the Garner role, maybe. Or even, it depends on who you're playing. The Gomez role, if you're going to be playing a little bit more defensively, you have, two more defensive-minded players in there. I think Joe could play there as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was trying to wrap my brain around it. If he were to stay, would this be I think we assume that James McCarthy's probably going to be on his way. We have no idea what's going on with Schneiderlin. I think the thought was he'd probably go because of his wages, because to figure out a way to get those off the books. However, he played very well at the end of the season. It depends on whether he's satisfied with his role and with the money he's getting now, whether or not he'll stay, right? I don't know. I was just trying to do the math on all of our center mids with that group, that big lump.
Yeah, it's very complicated. If you think about it, Schneiderlin, £100,000 a week. is he going to get that somewhere else at his age now? So he may not want to move. It obviously depends on his appetite for playing. I think there's certain, obviously, teams in France that will probably take him. But the way I see it is, in an ideal situation, have Gay and Gomez start the season. Really, if Gay doesn't leave, and then maybe we'll get a third centre midfield. We'll buy one in, whether that's Fabian Delph. I know we've been linked with Fabian Delph, and a lot of Everton fans weren't too happy about that. And then you'd have Davis and Joe Williams maybe as a sort of, just to bring the wages down, because you don't really need 4 high-priced centre midfielders in the system we play. We've got Gylfi Sigurdsson as number 10. So I hope that's the way it works out. But it depends on, obviously, Silva obviously has got probably a different view of it. He's not probably so minded as Marcel Brands is, in the fact that he has to keep the wages down. I suppose he probably would like Schneiderlin because he's the only natural number 6 we have. And if you want to play 4-3-3, you need a number 6, and Schneiderlin's probably our only natural one, really.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Jerry, the problem Joe Williams is going to have is how many players are in his way. I mean, you touched on it there. I mean, there's... Forget Schneiderlin, forget Gay, there's question marks over them. There's still James McCarthy, there's still Mo Bezic, there's still Benny Beningame, remember him. There's a lot of central midfielders who have sort of clogged up that part of the squad, and let's be honest, the 3 I've just mentioned, maybe Beningame, are not going to play. They've got no, they've got no future at the club, or they don't seem to. Mm-hmm. So Williams basically just got to have a look at, if those players go out the door, and we don't bring in a Fabian Delph, then he probably thinks, well, I'm going to be in the mix. I'm going to be, I'm going to play games. Whereas if not all of those players go, or they do, and we bring in Delph, he's probably sitting there and going to think, I'm not going to play. I'd rather go and play. I think he's got offers from German clubs, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, that's right. German clubs are interested. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And obviously that's a much walked path at the minute for young English players to go out and establish themselves in Germany and get the careers boosted when they're sort of stalling in England. And he's 22 now, Joe Williams. He's probably at the age to be thinking that he's not like 18 when he's got like a couple of years to feel things out. I think the decision one way or the other by the club and by Joe is going to be made this summer, whether he's going to stick around and be an Everton player, or he's going to say, you know what, I'm not just going to go on perpetual loan moves. I'm going to, go and try and, play somewhere properly.
I think in that sense, I think Everton maybe would, if that's the case, Marco Silva looks at the end of the pre-season and goes, sorry, Joe, I haven't got a place for you. Maybe we do sell him, but we put a buyback clause in for a year's time. I think Everton need to be smart about this going forward. It doesn't seem, for a player like Joe Williams, you say he went to, I don't know, Germany, not too sure where, or he went to, say, for example, a Derby and did really well for a season. We could bring him back, see what happens then. But that's something we should look at, really. I wouldn't like to, I think Everton, should really start looking at that, where they don't keep players till 24, 25, like Conor McAleny a couple of seasons ago, or Luke Garbutt. These players don't need to be at the club that long. They need to be sent out and let them go and play. If you want them back, put a buyback clause in.
And I'm assuming that is something. It seems like there's a movement toward trying to solve that issue. The idea of not holding on to these players. I don't want to infer that it's sentimental reasons, but it's the fact that you see some spark in them, you see some talent, and you're like, the time may be for you in a little while. We may have room in a little while. Just when this player gets a little older, we'll bring you in. I feel like at some point in the near future, we're not going to be holding on to a 24-year-old who's never played first team football. I just don't. I feel like we're moving in that direction, and this does feel like Terry. I agree what you said. A very pivotal. Said pivotal with El Pivote in here. Hey, but Jesus, I'll get my coat. No, it's a big year for him. This summer is huge for him, and so. Yeah, I think we are going to figure out whether or not he's going to have any Everton future. Maybe at the end of July, beginning of August. I think that's going to be. We're going to figure that out. Terry, if it's a situation where we keep a young English player who's been with the club for a while, or we bring in, let's say, a low-priced veteran who maybe doesn't have a whole lot of future left, if you have a choice. You know what I mean? Like, both being equal, it seems like you gain a lot from either way, I
don't know. Depends on the player. Like, look at it this way. Matthew Pennington has been kept around for so long, and he's the same age as Yerry Mina. Now, which one's going to start at the first game of the season if they're both, here and available? Sometimes you can keep a player too long, and if you've kept them so long and not played them, then they don't offer as much as that older player. It's just about finding the right balance. Like if we start this season and we've got a couple of injuries, and the first game in centre midfield we've got Andre Gomez and Fabian Delph, or Andre Gomez and Joe Williams, who spent last year on loan at Bolton, and he's probably going to go out the team and never be seen again once Garner's fit. Depends on the player. Like it entirely depends on the player. I would much prefer Joe Williams to come in and smash it and be a proper Everton player than buy an agent player. But not every academy player makes the cut for the Premier League. Some of them are, but they can't do it here. They need, look at Shane Duffy, was here for a long time, didn't really get an established run, went out, he's come back to, now he's an established Premier League defender. Some of them need to go elsewhere, and they don't even necessarily need to come back after that. It's the wrong club at the wrong time for them. Joe Williams may be another case of that, where he needs to go out to Germany, to somewhere else, play, become a player, and then either we go back in for them, or we go, you know what, you had a good spell here, but it was wrong time, wrong club.
As Terry says, on the flip side of obviously bringing them back, as you say, you just let them go. I think Everton need to start turning the young players into profit, really, in the sense that you need to build these players by sending them out on loan early. Look at Liverpool selling Brad Smith, Jordan Ibe, and players like that for ridiculous sums. We can't even get £1 million for some of our best young players for whatever reason. It's just because I think they do a much better PR job than us. So if you send them out, instead of waiting until Morgan Feeney's 21 to send them out at 18, 19, get him that experience, and then when he comes back, think, Morgan's probably not the right time for you. I think we'll let you go. I hope they don't with Morgan Feeney, obviously. That's just an example. But I think that's something we need to look at, really. I think we spoke about it before, Gerry, about the pathway of players. That needs to be looked into. We can't, as Terry says, hold on to them forever. And because, as you say, Terry, Matthew Pennington's still with a contract with the club. Yerry Mina at the same age. It's just ridiculous, really. I think that the ills of the past will be fixed by brands on that front, I think.
Yeah. I was thinking about the same thing, Andy, when we were talking about these. And I think when we see these young players going on loan instead of staying to play U23, that's good. The idea of Josh Bowler going out, awesome. That's great. Let's throw him in the championship. Let's see how he does. Let's see how it works for him. Let's see what he's made of, and then we'll talk to him in the summer next year.
If you're decisive early enough as well, you don't end up with examples like when we had Galloway coming back and Browning and we, you're basically just trying to give them away at that point because it hasn't worked out. But this decision could have been made earlier. Like we could have. There was a time where both of those players would have fetched decent money for us, but we dawdled on it and we missed that boat, and then they've probably both gone for nothing.
I think Marcel Brands has probably looked at, because if you look at the Dow going to Derby, he trusts Philip Cocu, so that's a plus, because if you sent Dow to the wrong manager, like what happened in the second half of the season at Forest under Karanka, who's defensive manager, that can happen. Same with Beningame last season with Paul Cook. So and again with Bowen, he's going to a progressive manager in McCann, and hopefully if Bowen leaves, then that will leave him with a spot. I think Brands has thought about this. I think we have to be much more careful where we send, as you use the example of Galloway and Brown, and they had the horrible year at Sunderland. They've never been the same as players. Well, Brown's doing actually quite well in China, but yeah.
Good. Because I didn't know how he was doing in China, so I'm glad.
I think he's going to be an international for China. I think he's going to get his passport or something like that. They've said, I don't know how that works, but.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. As long as it doesn't come back to bite us, I'm good. So, final thoughts: is Joe Williams going to be in the first team setup at Everton come the first game of the season, first Premier League game of the season this year?
Ask me again on August 1st.
Oh, come on.
I'm going to lean towards the out on loan, but it's totally up to him and how he takes his chance. I do hope. We are smart and we don't hold on to these high-priced players, and we do try and get a pathway for these players. But then again, maybe it isn't best that he just sits on the bench all season, as Terry said. Maybe it'd be better if he does go out on loan, as I say, come in one game and then disappears for the rest of the season. So fingers crossed for him. I hope he does well.
And didn't he get a goal on Sunday?
Yes, got a free kick, bottom right-hand corner,
Yeah, clever little, kept it low.
Hey, can't go wrong with that.
Works for me. All right.
Yeah.
I am also going to predict he goes out on loan. I don't want him to. I hope he absolutely smashes it this summer. I hope he does. But I don't know. I just think we've got a lot of pieces in there. It's very clogged. So, all right, guys. So that's it for our Joe Williams segment. If you've been digging the videos, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. I'd sincerely appreciate it. If you want more Terry, look up where he lives. Go over, give him a pie, apple pie. Just saying. He's waiting. So also, if you want more Andy, his blog El Pivote FTBL. All right. If you want more clarification on the spelling of all that, check his Twitter. Check Terry's Twitter. They both have good content. They're just fun to watch, for real. All right. And yeah, so that's our last video of this particular recording series. We are going to move on over to the podcast where we're doing a quiz. It'll be Andy's first quiz segment with us. And Terry will be finding little ways to take advantage of his inexperience in any way possible moving forward. There's no way to do that, by the way. Anyway, all right, so that's it. Thanks so much. Yeah, that's all I got. Bye.
And the Evertonians have gone berserk. Arteta's free